This call is being recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded, please disconnect at this time.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Cyrus Igono with the IndiePodcast.com. Today we have CiCi Camacho, the founder of the Play Movement. You're from New York originally, correct?
Yes, I am. Long Island.
Long Island. And then moved out to Arizona. And, I've known her for a few months now, though it feels like a lot longer. And, I haven't met many motivated people as she is. Very technically smart. So I decided to get her on the podcast so that, maybe other people are out there in a similar situation. You could learn from her and take, the things that she's done and apply them to your life and your business. So, CiCi, talk to me about how was it growing up in New York, Long Island. What are some key memories that you have from growing up out there?
Man, it's just, New York is very all right, you need to get up and hustle all the time. There's no, hey, I'm just chilling today. I feel like that's the vibe on the West Coast. I mean, what do I know? So for me, that was kind of a big thing. I was always moving, whether it was just playing soccer or going to choir. There was never a dull moment, which is really nice, which I think kind of helps me prepare myself for my future without even doing it.
Mhm. Most definitely. So, what interest did you have when you were younger? You said sports. What other things?
Oh, man. So music was my big thing as a kid growing up. I was in every musical. I was trying to convince my parents to let me run out and audition for Broadway, and I auditioned for American Idol, modeling agencies. I did all that stuff growing up, and even wanted to be like Whitney Houston or Christina Aguilera. To the point when I came out to Arizona and went to school out here, I went to school for vocal performance. So I was trying to get into operas and be this big time vocalist.
Interesting. So you always had a love for music, then, right?
Yes, definitely.
That's cool. So what are your favorite musicians growing up and such? What type of music were you into?
Oh, man. To be honest, I was into everything. I went from, listening to, KTU growing up, which was a big station in New York, to kind of switching to Z100 and then Hot 97. So it was kind of the oldies, my parents, and then switching over to, the pop top 40 vibe, and then switching over to, hip-hop. And then I was super into Linkin Park, and I still am, which is, so weird of me, but I love them. And even, famous opera singers like Cecilia Bartoli and, I'm trying to think who else, could come off the top of my head, but they were big influences for me, in that, you could kind of go across different genres of music. So, when Linkin Park collaborated with Jay-Z, that was huge in my mind. I was like, oh, this is the illest. This is so cool. And then, Nelly with Tim McGraw, all that stuff growing up just blew my mind.
Most definitely. That's interesting. So when did you make the decision that the music world was for you?
When did I make the decision?
Yeah.
I feel like it's always been for me. Obviously, just from growing up, being surrounded by music and then wanting to, be a singer and playing violin and all these other things. It didn't click in my brain on, how I was actually going to get there. There was no plan. When I was younger, it was just, hey, I like doing this. So how can I be more involved?
Most definitely. So what are your, how did you transition, talk to us about the transition from taking it as a hobby to formalizing an idea and rolling that out?
So that took me, how old am I right now? 25. So that probably took me a good 13, 14 years to try and figure out. But basically, I was just, you kind of go through the motions, you're doing things. And then in college, I got an internship with a radio station. So at first, I was like, oh, this is my way. This is my way to be like a big-time singer. Like, I'm going to sing in front of someone, and they're going to hear me, and that's it. Like, my life will be changed forever. That is not how it went at all. Basically, I ended up just kind of learning, like, the business side of radio and that side of the music industry, and then I was out, right? So I just kind of fell out of music. I stopped doing my music and ended up kind of jumping back in when someone really close to me got cancer. So I always had been doing, like, music events and the such and different, like, entertainment events. So when this happened, I just decided, hey, like, I'm into music. I want to, be more involved and around people that want to do what I enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how the play movement got started. I called up the American Cancer Society and said, hey, I want to do a benefit concert. To my surprise, they didn't ask me any questions at all. They just said, okay, and we made it happen.
That's pretty amazing. So for you, it was you were going to get work at the radio station as a backdoor to get a chance to meet people. That was your first plan, and wasn't for you, or how was your time there?
My time there was great. I was young. I mean, I was 18, 19, 20 years old. And in my eyes, like, still kind of a kid. It hadn't clicked in my brain that opportunity I had was something amazing that I could have done more with. So if there was anything, like, I would tell someone that was in that situation or is in that situation right now, the way I was to forget all about, hey, how can I be I don't know how to word it, but how can I make myself, like, the most awesome person is don't do that. I think that was, like, my big downfall is just you're trying to, like, be cool all the time, You're like, oh, I got to be so cool. Like, I'm on radio and I'm this and I'm that. When really it was like, yo, just, like, keep your head down, network the best way you know how, and just meet people, which is something I didn't do. So I didn't take everything that I learned there and put it to use.
You were in a situation at the radio station, and you basically didn't take advantage because you thought you were the coolest person ever. Is basically what you're saying.
I don't know if I thought I was the coolest person ever, but I, like, tried really hard to be the coolest person ever, which is so lame. But I mean, when you're a kid, like, you're trying to figure it out, right? 18, 19 years old. They give you power. They're like, here, you can be on the radio and be the face of a radio station. Like, like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, I'm so cool. But from there, I actually delved more into, like, the business side of things. So I got more involved with the promotions and marketing campaigns, which was really eye-opening for me to figure out how the back end of a radio station works, because it's kind of very similar to your standard business model. And then I got fired. So from there, I was however years old and trying to figure out, hey, what do I do? I used to tell people, like, radio was all I did at that point in time. So when people are like, hey, do you want to hang out? I'd be like, no, like, I'm going to the radio station. Like, I'm going to sit down and watch these DJs and watch these on-air personalities and, like, sit down with the program director and try and learn, the most I can. So I didn't hang out really, didn't do much. So for me, like, when I got fired, it felt like a breakup. I was like, dang, like, this, thing that I was attached to for, 3.5, 4 years, which is my life, is gone. Like, what do I do? And I think that's where I kind of realized, like, I lost a little bit of hustle, and then within a year I, like, picked it up, like, hella fast. So I started working, like, at a hotel and learning bigger events, like huge conventions that major corporations are doing, and realized, like, hey, like, I could do this. Like, I'll kill it. So from there, everything kind of happened with me finding out someone who was close to me had cancer, and was, everyone laughs when I say this, but it was like a punch in the face from the universe. Like, yo, like, what are you doing? You have all this experience that you've gathered up, and you're just, like, keeping it right in front of you. You're not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I just was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to do it. And everyone says it's like I jumped in the pool with all my clothes on. Like, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, let's go. Done. And that's kind of how it all got started and what happened in radio.
So, yeah. So basically, you turned a negative situation into the fuel you needed to do what you knew you needed to do.
Exactly. It's that it took that to happen, but it was a good experience overall.
That's great. So, tell me about some of your events, Play Movement, what, how did those go? What are some, some highlights?
The Play Movement, well, it started here in Arizona, so we did it December 2015 at a place in downtown Phoenix called The Warehouse. Huge success. Like, our first event had over, like, maybe 150 people, local musicians, plus musicians and DJs from California came out to support and to help us raise funds for American Cancer Society. So it was absolutely amazing. From there, we went on to host a show. Also, again, the host sponsor was The Warehouse, which is another really, really important connection for me. To kind of like, hey, if you do something well and with the right purpose, like, people are always willing to work with you again. And that was with Arizona Autism United. Good turnout there. That show for me was like a learning experience, but it was still really, really great. We had musicians from the East Coast, the Bay, and then local musicians come out for that cause. And I think for each one, so like the first show we raised a little over $600 for American Cancer Society. The second show we were able to raise enough money to help them fund a scholarship for an autistic student. And then this last show with Fresh Pair of Kicks campaign, I actually just gave them our check recently, happened in June. We raised enough money for them to get a Chromebook for their Kicks for Grades program, which is like an educational program, which is really exciting. And for that show, that was actually out in LA, so we had some really great upcoming Los Angeles musicians come out to support. The founder of R&B Bass, which is like a new genre of music that's kind of blowing up right now on the West Coast, come out and host the show, and performers from like Sabrina to Alex Knight, who's local. We brought him out from Arizona, to Bobby Brackens, who wrote Tinashe's Too On, and I'm trying to think of her name. And a young musician that once had opened for Bobby and Sabrina also came out. So those are our last shows. We're actually working on a big show right now in New York in September. We're calling it Brunch Fest, which is going to be awesome. It's kind of like a mini brunch festival that's going to raise funds for Project Picture Day. So they travel the world fostering emotional well-being and mental well-being in different low-income countries and schools.
Interesting. So going back now, kind of looking retrospect, what's one thing that you would tell somebody if they were kind of about to go on a similar journey? Like, what would you do different? Like, what was your big failure, and what would you do differently?
I would say time management. I think in the first couple of shows it was very, very important. It's very important to understand in general, but most people understand even if you have a standard 9 to 5 job, whatever time you have after that, from 5 to 2 in the morning or midnight or whatever, you need to be hustling, or else your passion project that you want to turn to revenue is not going to happen because you're not putting in the time.
Nice. Yeah, so that's pretty black and white. So basically you have to match the time, free time that you have to your full time.
Exactly. And we have the time. like, we have the time. It's just a matter of, like, and this kind of quote right now I got from Gary Vee, but he always says, like, would you rather watch, like, Game of Thrones or work on your business and, like, turn your passion, like, into revenue? In my eyes, I'd rather turn my passion into revenue, like, fuck Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So what's something that you've been, struggling on, but you're trying to correct and change? Is there anything particular that you're trying to really get better at this year?
Probably networking and being out more. I'm so focused on just trying to get things done that I find I'm not out as much as I should be, like connecting with people that are trying to do what I'm doing or are already doing what I'm doing, which is important.
Interesting. Cool. Well, I know you have to get on to your next call. Where can people find you and reach out to you and talk to you if they want to learn more?
Everything is like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at The Play Movement. Our website is jointheplaymovement.com, and you can always just find me personally. It's just at Miss CiCi Nicole.